Hello everyone, Captain VFC here today looking inside the box of a new release from a brand that I love to hate and I hate to love, Kovazovody Prostyov. Why do I feel so mixed about them? Well, KP and other brands within the same family will often release some unusual aircraft, but they also release things with, shall we say, questionable quality. And it's not even about age. I recently made, haven't featured it on the channel, but last year I made a new tooled KP kit and it looked rubbish and it put up a fight the entire way. I've also made one which is on the channel, the P40, which is just old and crap, and I'd made the Messerschmitt 109 at the same time, which is actually really good. So the year that it has on the box is irrelevant and the brand is potentially irrelevant, so you're always just gambling with quality. I'm hoping that's a thing of the past and all new KP kits will be excellent, but of course the only way you're going to find out is by buying them. So today we are looking at this absolute beauty, the Boeing P-26 Peashooter. This is the pre-war release. There are a few, as we'll see later on Scalemates, a few different P-26s that they've done. I've chosen this because I have a bit of a thing for interwar aircraft. They tend to be unusual, colourful, often useless, just a bit more interesting. And in the past I've actually made a couple of Revell boxed monogram, I think, P-26s. Here's a blue one. I did try and find the green one, but I think I might have put it in a box somewhere, so I can't find it. But I have got a couple of these old ones, and we'll be looking at a little comparison of the KP one when it's done. Very much my area of interest, so naturally, when I saw that this was being released, I had to go out and buy it. It says at the top here, new tool model 2025. I bought it early in 2026 when I first saw that it had been released. This artwork on the front, lovely. I assume it's, yes it is, Carlos Alonso. I've got his book. See my P40 and 109 dual combo video for a little look at that. Looks very smart in the pre-war drab and yellow scheme. It says price D. Excellent, it costs D. And there's nothing else on the front beyond the Kovazovody Prostyov brand. On the red edge, we have the usual declaration that none of this product was funded by the EU. It also has a date of November 2025, and I don't think I've ever seen that on the box of a KP kit before. Maybe that's a new thing, don't know. Certainly I didn't see it in stock until January 26. Skill level 1, which is odd because loads of aircraft that I've seen from KP are skill level 2. It's very rare to see a level 1, but never mind. We have some warnings and just general information in both Czech and British, or English, but it's got a British flag. It's the English language, but a British flag. On the yellow edge, yellow edge, we can see that the box is slightly crushed. This arrived in immaculate condition. I don't know how I've managed to crush it in the couple of weeks that I've had it, but never mind, somehow I have. We have an address for KP and a little recycling thing. The product code is 517 and another of the versions. Look at that, the blue, which is of course much closer to the one that I've fetched off the shelf. We've got a blue one from Hawaii 1939. We have two shop edges. The yellow shop edge is this, and the red shop edge is this. Basically exactly the same information, just slightly differently branded. Differently coloured. The back of the box, as is tradition for KP, has the colour callouts. We see that there are 3 options included. The green one on the front cover, the blue one on the side of the box, and this rather wacky experimental desert camo from 1936. That is interesting, isn't it? It doesn't tell you sort of FS codes or paint brands, it just says olive green, yellow, blue, yellow, you know, that stuff. And apparently that is gold, the band around there, which is odd. It doesn't look very gold to me, but apparently that's what it is. That's a lot of rambling. I need to stop it and open the box and see what's inside. We are greeted with a bag. This should come as no surprise to anyone who's built a kit from KP or AZ, or in fact loads of other manufacturers from Eastern Europe. They generally put things in a sealed bag. We've got everything. We've got decals facing towards the plastic, which is good. They're not going to get scratched, and they've got a divide between the plastic and the decals anyway, which is the instructions. You can also see a windscreen in there. Well, mistakes were made with opening the bag, but everything seems okay. We'll ignore that. I won't show you the state of the bag now. We're going to look at the first thing that I notice, which is a little windscreen. This is a clear bit of paper, really. It's plastic, but it is as thin as paper. And that is the windscreen. You cut it out, you fold it up and stick it on. It is certainly going to be much more refined, much more in scale than the injection molded canopy of the monogram one, but I'm not a great fan of this style of canopy, if I'm honest. But, well, not canopy, windscreen, but it is better than nothing. I'm going to put that to one side and hopefully not lose it. Let's look at the decal sheet next. Right, okay. First thing I noticed is if you look at where it says US Army, look how much extra carrying film you have on that, and the logo here as well. Yeah, okay. Right, national insignia. This is the pre-1942 insignia with the red spot in the middle, which you would expect because it's labelled as pre-war. The spots, as you can see, are part of the insignia, which I'm noting simply because sometimes with some manufacturers you just get the base and then red spots to stick on it, which is both good and bad. It's good because you can always do the later one, and it's bad because it's a pain. The rudder markings, the US flag, is also going to be a pain because look at the overhang, the decal film, the carrying film. There we go, look how much there is. Although you can see at the bottom, I'm trying to get the light to shine off it again, at the bottom it's much smaller. It looks like it's off centre. Looks like there's too much carrying film on the top, not enough on the bottom. Nice. Okay, we've got another logo. Appears to be a cock or a rooster, and some seatbelts. Yes, and there is of course the bird. So very minimal, no stencil details, just seatbelts and insignia, but they look fine. Always a bit suspicious with KP decals because sometimes they'll be absolutely fine. These ones look okay. The quality. Sometimes they look really pixelated, really low res, and sometimes, whether they look good or not, the quality is bad and they just disintegrate. So it's difficult to really say if these are going to be any good. There certainly appears to be no registration issues, so as long as they go on the kit nicely, hopefully, we've got good ones. Instructions are a single sheet of A4-ish paper folded in half. However, they appear to be for the Boeing P-26 Peashooter or Peashooter or something, I don't know. Nice typo there. I shouldn't make fun of them. English is not their first language, but they can get it right on the box. So you could just, you know, copy the box. Anyway, yes, the Peashooter. We'll call it a Peashooter. There's a history in Czech and a history in English telling you that the B-26, blimey, imagine using this as a bomber. I think they did, but anyway, P-26 was the first monoplane fighter aircraft to be adopted by the US Army Air... No, it says United States Air Force. It was US Army Air Force. The USAF didn't exist until post-Second World War. So there's already an error, and it's only in the first sentence. Right, I'm ignoring it. I'm not letting it get to me. Here are the colours and some things, some symbols. Drill hole, optional. Reduce, basically file down. The colours that we're likely to use. Note that there are no exterior colours. These are just the interior colours. Do not eat and drink during the work. Oh. Well, I've been drinking coffee. Okay. Opening up, we have a sprue map. Plastic parts, there we go, just one sprue, one transparent part which it has shown as being folded already, even though we know that it's not. Nice that they include it. You can make sure when you're checking the sprue itself that all the parts are there and any blank spots were blank deliberately. Construction begins. I'm sure this will not surprise anyone with the interior. This is a basic instrument panel for which there is no decal based on when we looked at the decal sheet. There is a seat on a plank, well, I assume are rudder pedals. So we've got at least some detail. Oh, and it gives us an option A or C. Also, it's just colours, isn't it? Because A is black and C is interior green. So it doesn't... Usually KP don't tell you this, so I was briefly surprised. Like, oh, option A or option C? No, it's just the colour. You can paint it either black or green. No indication as to what is correct for your version. We have a wheel inside the wheel covers. Fixed landing gear on the Peashooter, but these rather nice streamlined covers. Step 4 is the whole fuselage going together. Again, there's an option for different tail wheels by the looks of it. The box suggests that all of these are the same, but again, worth double checking. Oh yes, it's because that's got an enclosed housing for the tail wheel, whereas sometimes they had a smaller tail wheel. Yes, I do know that. Right, well, not smaller, but it looks smaller. There's logic to it. I can't think of words. Let's get going before the video stalls. Stick the undercarriage on. Step 7 is apparently rigging it, and then step 8 is sticking the engine on. Either that or, yeah, it's not. It's just showing you this is what it should look like when it is finished. It's a little bit misleading. We've got the engine going on. We have to build guns ourselves out of plastic rod. They don't include those. That's a little bit annoying. And the engine then goes on to the fuselage. Turning over the last page, step 11, add the transparency and some more plastic rod. So they've not given you an exhaust either. Well, they sort of have. They've given you all of these exhausts. Just look. They've given you loads of plastic parts there, but not that one there. That's fun. And then rigging, but it says plastic rod in between the rigging. So it doesn't, oh no, it does. I was going to say, it doesn't tell you what the rigging is. It does, it says wire. I just wasn't looking properly. Well, how grim. Fine, a bit basic. Oh, we've got a Venturi tube. Very typical of interwar aircraft. It creates a drop in pressure, and the pressure then powers various instruments. So you often will see that next to the cockpit on aircraft of this era. Yeah, it looks basic and it looks a little bit fiddly. I'm not feeling that much joy looking through this, whether it's good quality or not. It's going to take a little bit of work. Onto the plastic sprue, exactly as per the instructions, there is just one. Interesting to note that for a brand new tool, apparently, there's quite a lot of excess plastic, not just on the frame, but also on the parts, like the wings. Although, look at those rivets. Can you see them? Look. Wow. Decent detail. A little bit crude in places, but this is limited run technology, so you wouldn't expect it to be as crisp as others. But yeah, that's rather nice. Little holes for where the rigging goes as well. Yeah, okay. There's the top wing. It's all one piece wing. It also has what appears to be KP 2025. KP 2025 very faintly scratched into the center wing piece. Okay. Oh, let me just turn around a little bit. Oh, my leg's going numb. Yeah, interesting. The engine is here. It's also a little bit sloppy. There's a big blob of plastic there. That's not great. You see that? There's a blob that's kind of run into the mounting ring. Not ideal. So this is not one of their high quality kits. We can tell that already. Some scratches on that piece, the cockpit floor, but okay. Fuselage halves. Yeah, same really. Just nice engraved detail, but a little bit crude in places. There's the rudder. Yeah, it looks okay. The other fuselage half is down here, is more or less exactly the same. Note that there are no locating pins or grooves or anything for the tail surfaces or for any of the parts. No locating pins whatsoever. If you are clever with your design, you can have it so that, for example, the rudder is only on one side of the fuselage, and then you can line it up by pushing the other one up to the ridge of the rudder, which is on both sides. But they've not done that here, you're just guessing. The interior detail is minimal, but still more than the old monogram kit. And then the rest of the aircraft is scattered around the middle of the frame. We've got the wheel covers here. There's the instrument panel, which, well, it looks okay. Absolutely fine. Nothing special. We've got a bulkhead, which I think is for behind the pilot. There's the front of the engine and the wheels. Again, perfectly fine. Some very small exhaust bits. Propeller blade looks a bit rough, if I'm honest. Here is one of the tail wheels. Where is the other one? The other one is there. So this one is in one piece, already shrouded, whereas this one is exposed. And then this will be the housing for it, I imagine. So much bigger housing. This is the other part of the instrument panel, and the cowling and tail surfaces and things down there. And that is it. That is the whole kit. On to Scalemates, and you can see here Boeing P-26 Peashooter, spelt Peashooter, not Payshooter this time. We have the same product code, exact same box artwork, and it confirms what we've already said, 2025. It lists it as new decals, but that is simply because the new tool version is this one. It's exactly the same kit. It's not like they released one and then the next and then the next. They released them all at the same time, but Scalemates will always have one as your original kit. Incidentally, this one is also interesting because, yes, the Peashooter actually went to war, which quite frankly sounds horrendous, but you've got 3 schemes included in this one. I was actually a little bit tempted by it because a wartime Peashooter, whilst it sounds terrifying to have to go up against things like Zeros, is also kind of in line with what I've got on my shelf. We have the night fighting one in this release as well. Yes, night fighting in a Peashooter, I'm not making this up. Also note that on here it does say USAF, which as already stated is wrong. It's US Army Air Force, USAAF. The third version is the overseas one, International Peashooter, aka Peashooter d'International. We have the Chinese scheme, or a Chinese scheme, a Spanish scheme, and Philippines. The Spanish one looks fantastic. Look how bright and colourful that is. The reason why I'm on the Hanant's website was to check the price. Hanant's will generally charge the upper end of what is readily available because they stick to RRP. They don't sell to the public at a discount. So $17.99 is about what you'd expect to pay for this, and is exactly what I paid for it because I also bought it from Hanant's. And there we go, that is it. That is our look inside the Kovazovody Prostyov P-26 Peashooter. This is an interesting aircraft, and the kit looks to be one of the weaker ones based on looking at it. In fact, $17.99, now that I know the quality of it, seems a little bit expensive, but you do expect, or at least I expect, to pay a little bit more for an unusual aircraft. And until some of the big brands, hint Airfix hint, get off their backsides and release things like a Peashooter, which to be fair to them probably wouldn't sell well enough to justify it, but until then we have to expect to pay a little bit more. Let me know what you think. Do you think this looks good for the price? Do you think it looks a bit expensive? Is it something you are interested in? Personally, my advice would be wait until I've built it. I'm not saying that I'm an expert modeler or anything, but this looks like it is one for a more experienced modeler. I've made plenty of KP kits before, so in theory, I should be able to do a reasonable job of it without too much effort. If you are brand new to scale modelling, I wouldn't recommend something like this based on what I've seen inside the box. It would probably put you off, but you never know. You never know. No harm in trying your luck. If you've liked the video, give it a like. If you've disliked it, well, thanks for getting this far, but you can dislike it. If you just feel like disliking it because you think it's funny, then fine, do that, whatever, I don't care. And if you do not subscribe, but you regularly watch my content, then, well, just subscribe. Because if you subscribe, you will see things like polls, for example. I don't mean large sticks that you can dance around. I mean a poll for which scheme to do this in, because I haven't quite decided whether I want to do the green one or the blue one. I don't think I'll do the desert camo. Whilst it's interesting, I like blue and green for the Peashooter personally. So I might put a poll up when it comes to building it. If you subscribe, you can have a say in that. If you don't subscribe, then you can't. So your loss. You can also become a channel member like the people appearing on screen. These people have known for some time that I bought this because I shared it as soon as it arrived. Yes, I shared a picture going, look what I bought. So if you're interested in joining them and getting some spoilers, you can. Doesn't matter if you don't want to. Just watching the video is enough for me. You could also share the channel with a friend by sitting down in the pub next to a bunch of strangers and just getting YouTube out on your phone and going, hey, look at this guy, you should subscribe to him. I don't think it'll work. You'll probably be asked to leave the table, but you could do it. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully I will see you again soon, hopefully in the building of a new Peashooter.